Welcome back to math. Today we're going to talk about adding fractions, and as you can see I have my fraction problem up there. Let me just push that to the top. Our problem today is 1/2 plus 1/5. Now how do we go about doing 1/2 plus 1/5? Well, can we do it the way it is? No, we can't do it the way it is. Why can't we? Well, because this one has a 2 on the bottom, and this one has a 5 on the bottom. So we can't add them yet, or subtract them for that matter. So what do we need to do? We need to make these the same bottom number, or you can call that a denominator. Some people call it like units. Like units. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, do you see our half line right up here? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw that half line over here on this other box, and I'm going to use a different color. Now, what does that tell us? That tells us that we have taken the half and we halved the other side. Now what we're going to do at the half is we're going to take these 5 lines right here, and we're going to put them across our, okay? So, how many pieces do we have? How many have we cut the box into? How many pieces have we cut the box into now? Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 on this side. How many do you think we're gonna have on the other side? 2. We're gonna have another 5. Yeah. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got a new stylus, so it doesn't work as well. So we're going to have our bottom number is going to be what now? 10. It's going to be a 10. And how many of the boxes do we have over here that are shaded in? How many? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like 5 boxes to me. How about you? Yeah? So we're going to put a 5 there. Our addition sign, we're just going to put it down. Okay, now if you notice, we have 5/10 underneath the what? The half. Because 5 is what of 10? It's half of 10. So let's count our other box. How many squares do you think we have in this box now? How many pieces? 10. Our bottom number is 10. That is correct. So now we have how many of them? 2. We have 2. So we're going to add them together. 5/10 plus 2/10 is 7/10. And this is our answer. See how easy that is? Yep. Now let me give you one other way to do that, okay? Let's call this a little different method. Okay, let me erase this. We had a half, right? And we had plus 1/5, right? I'm going to show you a different method. This method I'm going to call it the parentheses method. I really don't know what else to call it, actually. Okay, I'm going to put a parentheses down here. I'm going to put my addition sign and another parentheses down here. And here's what I'm going to do. This is going to be a little different. So I'm going to put a multiplication sign in here, and I'm going to say, I'm going to put my half over here, because I have my half, right? And I'm going to be multiplying it by, I'm going to take this bottom number right here, the 5, and I'm going to put it on the top and the bottom, on the numerator and the denominator. The denominator is the bottom. Now, and I'm going to multiply across. Okay? So 1 times 5 is 5, and 2 times 5 is 10. Now, do you notice we have 5/10? Does that look familiar? Yeah, because last time we just did it, we turned our half into 5/10, as you can see up here in our boxes, right? Now, on the other side, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my 2, well, sorry, let me not get ahead of myself, okay? I'm going to take my 1/5, I'm going to put it in here like I did with my half. And then I'm going to take my 2 and I'm going to put my 2 on the top and the 2 on the bottom. I'm going to multiply these straight across. So 1 times 2 is 2, and 5 times 2 is 10. So we have 2 over 10. And if we added these together now, what would we have?
7 tenths.
We would have 7 tenths. And that's what we got last time, isn't it? So you see, you could do it a couple of ways, a couple of different ways to do these kinds of fractions with different denominators. Fractions with different denominators. That means fractions with the number on the bottom that's different. Okay? All right. Well, we're going to move on now to our next lesson, shall we? Okay, so we're on lesson 11 now. We're putting a couple of lessons together in a little different way. This one's called Subtracting Fractions, Making Like Units Numerically. Fancy title, isn't it? Gotta love these fancy titles. It's basically subtracting fractions with the bottom number that's not the same. The bottom number is called the denominator, right? And the top number is called the numerator. Good job. Okay, so here's our problem. We got 1/3 minus 1/5, right? Okay, so what are we going to do? Well, let's go ahead and let's shade these in. We got our 1/3, right? And we got our 1/5, right? Okay. Now remember, we're subtracting on this one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my lines. Do you remember how to do that? I can take my vertical ones and turn this one into thirds, right? And I can take my horizontal ones and I can draw those right across here. Does that make sense? Okay. Now we have a third and we're going to take away 1/5. Now what's our bottom number going to be? And what's that bottom number called again? Denominators. Okay. So we can do this real easy. We can count our sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 down, right? And we're going to multiply that by 1, 2, 3 across. Okay. 5 times 3 is what?
15.
So our bottom number is going to be a 15. Good job. So let me just subtract, let me just get rid of that. Did you guys get that okay? Good. And if that's a 15, then what's the other number on this side?
15.
Yeah, it's going to be 15 as well. So let's go ahead and put our 15 down. All right, now subtraction, we're just going to use the crossing out method. That means we're going to take let me use black. So I'm going to take things away, right? So I have 5. Well, how many do I have on this side right here? How many do I have? How many pieces of that 15 do I have? 5, right. And how many do I have on this side?
3.
I have 3, right. So it's basically 5 15ths minus 3 15ths. And that makes 2 15ths, right? Now let me show you how to represent that on the drawing. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to take it away. So I'm going to cross this one out. Every time I cross something out, it's gone. Okay, let's just pretend it's not there anymore. Okay, I'm going to take this one and I'm going to take this one away, right? And on this one, the reason why I'm crossing the right one out, remember I'm crossing this one out first because that's the one we're taking away from this one. This is our total on this side. We're taking this one away from that. Okay? So here we go. And we'll cross the third one away. So how many does that leave for us? How many does that leave? That leaves 1 piece, 2 pieces, right? So let me shade that over here so it represents the same thing. Do you get that idea? So, as you can see, that's how we get the 2 right there. The 2 15ths. Get it? 1, 2. 2 15ths. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So when we cross these out, we're left with 2. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. let's try doing this a slightly different way, shall we? I'm going to show you the parentheses way for this, okay? All right. Okay, now I'm going to show you the parentheses method, like we talked about last time. What are we going to do with this third? Do you remember what we're going to do with it? We're going to write it here. And then do you remember we're going to multiply by what? Well, we're going to take this 5 from this side and we're going to put it down here, right? And that's going to give us what? 1 times 5 is 5, and 3 times 5 is 15. So as you can tell, we have 5 15ths. Does that look familiar? It should, because isn't that what we have here in our last problem? And I showed you how to do that by drawing last time, right? Now this time I'm showing you the parentheses kind of way of doing it. All right, now what do we do on this side? Do you remember? What are we going to write there? We're going to write 1/5, and then we're going to multiply it by what number? By the 3, oh, that we take our 3 from there, right? Kind of looks like cross multiplication, kind of, doesn't it? Okay, 1 times 3 is 3, and 3 times 5. Okay, so what do we have?
2 15.
Well, as you can see, we have 5, take away 3 is 2. Our bottom number stays the same, and so it's 15. So our answer is 2 15ths. Does that look familiar? That should, because that's what we got up here, isn't it, in our drawing out method. Do you see that? So I just showed you 2 ways to do that. I showed you 2 ways to do that. Watch this again if you need. Make sure you pause it as you go, okay? And I love math.